Should Leon County stop funding family and children's services? At our January commission meeting, we rejected a change that could have led to many family and children community service providers losing much needed county funding that keeps their doors open. We're going to go over how this even came up for a vote, why we rejected the change, and what this means for family and children's services. So what is CHSP? The Community Human Services Partnership, or CHSP, is a partnership between Leon County and the City of Tallahassee to fund our local community service providers addressing our biggest needs. A combined $5.6 million per year funds 11 categories of these services, with $2.3 million coming from Leon County. And for 20 years, CHP has provided a consistent application and approval process that providers go through every 2 years. Leon County staff recommended eliminating funding categories for family and children's services to save money so it could be routed to homeless services. They planned for the providers in the eliminated categories to get new funding from the Children's Services Council, or CSC, to replace lost county CHSP money. We immediately heard from service providers that this sudden change, months before the start of the biannual CHSP application process, would devastate them. Many would not qualify for CSC funding, and others might be eligible to apply but not receive funding. Some worried they would have to close their doors if they lost funding. There simply was not enough time to change their budget and grant strategy and keep operating. This could have impacted providers like the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the Big Bend, the Boys and Girls Club, Pace Center for Girls, Children's Home Society, Oasis Center for Women and Girls, Refuge House, and so many more. Kids from the Boys and Girls Club even came to our meeting to show us how important this is for them. Now, with this pushback, staff returned to January's meeting with a modified proposal that offered a minor transition plan but did not address the risks. It would have allowed providers who might not be eligible to apply for CSC money to still apply for CHSP money, but others would not be able to do this in time and may be rejected even after applying for CSC money, leaving them with no money in the county and no money from the CSC. We will get to just how much money we're talking about next, but first, take a moment to like this video with the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. Now, after that, we can get to why this was even started as a thing. So the budget impact on providers was likely to be huge, while not so significant for Leon County. The budget impact to the county would have been $23,000 in the fiscal year 25 and $416,000 in the fiscal year 2026. And while this might seem like a significant savings, it's not significant enough to risk interrupting services for our families and children in need. The importance of these services cannot be understated, and interruption could have serious consequences. Here's another kicker. If we approved this change to eliminate funding, the City of Tallahassee would also take it up, and the risk of losing the city funding would fall to service providers. And that's much more money to them than the likely county budget savings. The county budget coming up will no longer have federal ARPA funds starting next year. We use these funds to support part of our CHSP programs. Now, ARPA stands for American Rescue Plan Act and was enacted during the pandemic to help local governments fund community needs. And so now we need to find money somewhere now that funds are gone. Staff looked at our budget for family and children's services in CHSP and suggested that those could be funded from the CSC instead of Leon County CHSP, freeing up CHSP money for other programs. Now, what is the CSC? It's the Children's Services Council. It's a special government organization approved by voters in 2014 that collects additional property tax and uses it to fund programs for children and families. They have their own board, their own rules, their own statutes to follow. There's more to it, but to simplify, they cannot just take over our CHP funding process, and they have more stringent requirements than our process. Funding is also much more competitive than CHSP. The big deal is that service providers eligible for CHSP might not qualify for CSC. This change was introduced at the very last minute and would throw significant inconsistency into the mix for these providers. Fortunately, the change was rejected, and the CHSP categories will remain the same for 2 more years. This allows Leon County staff to work with CSC and providers for possible changes over a 2-year period. The time frame provides a more stable environment for these organizations and allows them to plan their operations effectively, and it makes it likely that the City of Tallahassee CHSP funding will not change for 2 years. While it's clear that the financial considerations are significant, it's also clear that services provided by these groups are invaluable to our community. The vote at our last meeting has saved many family and child service providers from potential closure, and we will look forward to seeing how the CHSP, CSC, and providers work together over the next 2 years to ensure that the needs of our community continue to be met effectively and sustainably. These are the kinds of votes we take all the time, but you usually don't hear about them. As long as you want to listen, I will be happy to tell you all about our votes. If you like this video, you will certainly like our other videos on our channel. Click the subscribe button below. It helps our videos get seen by more people. Please leave a comment and tell us what you think about any action we've taken this video or the CHSP vote.